Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. And in this one, I am going to be breaking down why Destruction Warlock is a specialization that you do not want to miss out on when it comes to the next expansion, Midnight, all of the new goodies, all of the awesome fun bits about it that I have discovered so far for the specialization, and its likely viability and its level of required complexity in order to perform on the specialization. These are going to be very important topics to cover because these are like the main things that cause people to either have a bad experience or a really good experience when they pick a specialization in World of Warcraft. Now, the first one with Destruction Warlock that really caught my attention is the introduction of Roaring Blaze, which is a talent that now causes Conflagrate to erupt, immolate up to 3 nearby enemies. So it gives you this really big instant ramp as opposed to having to like tab target and switch targets a lot and get immolate going on every target, which can cause you to make misplays. Now you can just put immolate on the primary target and then conflagrate it onto other specs, and you can just focus in on that main primary target. It makes doing AoE smooth and buttery. It's really easy. It makes it a lot more basic than it was previously before when it comes to Mythic Plus scenarios. Now in PvP, it may not matter too much. It could in some situations. A lot of the times, it depends really on which hero talent tree ends up being stronger or not. Obviously, with there being instant cast, you can kind of just apply that pretty easily in PvP situations with smaller group counts. But in like epic BGs, roaring down a bunch of conflagrates and rain of fires could likely be a really good time. So I think when it comes to dungeons, it's phenomenal. When it comes to PvP, overall throughput is still really strong right now. Chaos Bolt still is very chunky from a lot of the testing that I have done. So when it comes to PvE and PvP in terms of viability, I think it's grabbing my attention. So if you're somebody who wants to play the game broadly, it's really good across all content at the moment. Shadowburn is also being reverted back into an execute style mechanic, which it can only be used at low health, and they've added a kind of sudden death proccing effect for it, which is critical strike damage dealt by Chaos Bolt, Conflagrate, or Incinerate will have a 10% chance to make Shadowburn within the next 30 seconds castable without being in range, and costs no soul shards. So making critical strike a little bit more of an interesting talent for destruction as well, aside from just kind of just directly increasing the Chaos Bolt damage. It's giving it a little bit more synergy, which I really like, sort of uplifting some of the secondary stats and trying to get a little bit more parity there and giving a little bit more identity to Shadowburn, as opposed to just kind of like spamming a bunch of instant cast abilities chained all together. You get a much better flow, a much better satisfying rotation when it comes to your class. And it's way less spammy, way less demanding, way less actions per minute than it was before. So it's a lot easier, is the main point that I'm trying to get at. The build that I've got right here, I've honestly just been kind of cooking a little bit. It might not be the perfect build, but I really wanted to focus on like a Rain of Fire Incinerate style build because of all the synergies that Incinerate gets from Embers of Nihilum. Which is just going to be extra procced damage from your Apex talent. So I wanted to focus on like AoE Incinerates, get really fast Incinerates, and get like a ton of Rain of Fires going down. So you can kind of start things off with Infernal, Immolate, Conflagrate, spread it, and then you can extend all of those with Malevolence, which is really nice. So you just got full extended hot dots, and you can just go to this 2-button rotation, which is just like Incinerate, Conflagrate when you've got it, and Rain of Fire. So it's like a 3-button AoE rotation, which is just really effective. It's really simple. It's visually very satisfying. You can see like all the different little animations that are going off as you're channeling through this. It looks like I'm lagging a little bit. My stats are not like the most ideal on this character. It's currently geared for PvP, but when it comes to like a Mythic Plus scenario, like you are going to be doing a lot of damage for not a lot of effort. Okay, like you're going to be feeling pretty juiced up. Now, do you know they could tune you, and if they tune you in a way that completely crushes you by the time the game comes out, maybe not, but whenever Destruction Warlock's been in kind of like a Rain of Fire sort of meta style play, it ends up being really strong in PvE, at least when trash is the main priority. But I feel like even in single target, you can just switch the build out, switch the loadout bout, and you're still going to be doing really good damage. It's just Destruction Warlock is just in a really good place. Simple, smooth, buttery, easy results. So if that's something that you're looking for, this is definitely the spec that you want to be jumping on. And then when it comes to PvP, Chaos Bolt is still hitting really hard. And seemingly Warlock in general, I don't know how you guys got away with this, but they're allowing you to get Howl of Terror and Mortal Coil at the same time. So that's really crazy. Like that is a lot of crowd control that previously you didn't have access to. Before you had to choose between Shadow Fury, in coil. So this is opening up a lot of viable options in PvP. You're also getting double demonic gateway, so you can put your gateway down and then you can click it. Apparently we aren't allowed to use gateways here, but you can put it down, you can click it, and you can click it twice. So you're getting like double the amount of mobility. This is obviously going to be a very important mechanic also, I would imagine, in a lot of raid encounters. I don't know why you're not allowed to use gateway literally anywhere in the city, but that's a little bit strange. But getting double gateway, I can imagine they'll be designing some mechanics around that, knowing that like your entire raid group can gate to one side and then gate back. And then in PvP, because they've been reducing mobility across the board on a lot of classes, you're just gaining mobility. So you're gaining mobility and you're gaining crowd control. That's a big double whammy. And your survivability is still very high with things like Dark Pact, and they've been buffing a lot of Drain Life healing. So when it comes to like solo sustainability, you're a lot more viable. When it comes to your overall damage output, it's a lot simpler, a lot more identity, and a lot more flavor. These are all really significant improvements to the class, whether you're doing PvP or PvE. But it also begs the question of, are you going to get nerfed? And I would say that like, they're on vacation right now, as far as Blizzard, the dev team. So when they come back, that I think they're probably going to come back swinging, and that's when we're going to see a significant amount of changes. There's also a very large window from PTR to actual beta release, which I imagine that's going to be getting them a huge amount of testing. If people get bored of PTR and they log on beta to test and provide them with more data, that could likely put your class in a precarious position if it's too strong. I'd say right now you want to be like flying in on like a high B or a low A tier, where you're kind of just like under the radar, decent, not totally unviable, and then you end up being on the S tier because everybody else that was too high gets snipped down, and then people on the bottom are getting bumped up, is where you'd want to be. And destruction is it's kind of walking the line right now as far as competitive viability across debatably all parts of the game. So you may want to take that with caution, but I think even after nerfs, if you're just looking for a simple experience that provides good results, it's going to in all content across the game, even despite the tuning. But if you're like cutting edge player and top 0.1%, where like every little minor detail in terms of damage output is significant, then that's where you're going to be making that decision becomes a little bit more difficult. But if you're just kind of just logging on, playing for a couple of hours, I feel like it's going to be a very satisfying experience. Doesn't require, there's no I don't feel like I need any add-ons to play this specialization. You just log on, get dots up, spread them around, spam Rain of Fire, spam Chaos Bolt if it's single target. Very simple, very linear. The Shadow Burn execute mechanic adds a little bit of dynamics to the class that otherwise it wouldn't have, which is nice, and it's still got its core proponents that you would expect from Destruction Warlock. So my review for it, honestly, right now, if the game were to come out, is like pretty much 10 out of 10. Like this is the spec, one of the best specs to be moving into it. So that's it for my breakdown here. I just wanted to show you guys the strengths of it, pros and cons of it. And give you an idea of what to expect, and hopefully get you anticipated for Destruction Warlock, because some of these specializations are looking really phenomenal, other ones not so much. So hit the subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with news related to World of Warcraft and keep tabs on what's going on with the specializations that you're interested in playing, because I'm always relaying those patch notes, news updates, playthroughs, and guides, and your support is greatly appreciated as always. So thank you guys very much for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one.